I didn't have a plan B because I didn't want a plan B, because that was the life that I wanted. Because you know, when they say love what you do and you will never have to work a day, that's me. I mean, I'm always working, but it's like I'm having fun. Life, it's a matter of trial and error. That was the kind of life that I wanted to live, and I wasn't gonna give up. So of course I have days of when I'm frustrated, especially when people say enjoy your vacation. I'm never on vacation because I'm always working, and that's okay. Hey guys, what's going on? Isabella here from Porto. I'm streaming from my nice apartment. I went a little bit out of budget this time, but I wanted to treat myself, and I got this cute, spacious, most of all, apartment in Porto, where I am working on my business and alternate between working on my business and going out exploring. And this is part of the nomadic life. So if you're watching this video, it's because you're curious to know about how I became a digital nomad at the age of 47. Actually, I started a bit earlier when I was 45 in 2017. Yes, you can do the math now. When I left my corporate job to go on a lifetime adventure, I was tired of the corporate policy and politics and system, and I was eager to know the world and to travel in South America. At the time, I haven't finished my trip yet, but that's another story. And I wanted to work on my own terms and live on my own terms. Wake up when I wanted to wake up, work when I wanted to work, explore the world. And the way I did it was, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I wasn't unsure because at the time when I left the company, I was 45. So at 45, if you take a sabbatical year and it's not approved by your company, it's difficult to go back into the corporate world because you're old. And so I took a huge leap of faith, but I had this drive inside that is, you know, when you have something so powerful inside. I don't know if it was inside my head or inside my heart or in my soul, but it was a huge impulse, and it was becoming a physical pain to stay where I was at the time. It was like a force that pushed me towards resign and set off for a lifetime adventure. So fast forward 6 years, almost 7. Here I am, still living a nomadic life. I had my ups and downs. Now I am in a transition period, but I've never been happier. I work more than before because I managed to build my own business. But and sometimes I say, of course, I regret it, because I say, okay, if I didn't have my own business and if I was working with somebody else, when I finish my working hours, I can just relax and enjoy whatever I want to do. But now for me, even when I travel, because I have a business in the travel space, even when I travel, it's not, of course I enjoy it, otherwise I wouldn't do it, but it's not like a walk in the park. I'm exploring, I'm looking at, I'm exploring a new place, I'm learning about a new culture and stuff, but it comes with the mindset of a business person. So So I look at everything like, okay, this is what I'm gonna talk about, and this is what I need to film because of my video. It's not relaxed anymore. And even when I finish working, my mind, even when I'm in the shower, my mind is thinking about what I can do and So it's hard. I love it, and I wouldn't want it in any other way, but it's hard. And and also I switched from a mindset of an employee to a mindset of a businesswoman at 45. It's not that I grew with this mentality, because I come from a family when both my parents were working for other people, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur, but I met him, but I met him when he was retired already, so I didn't really have any example in my family. I do have to say that I had a lot of support from my parents, from my dad most, because my mom is very, I don't know, she's, I mean, I love her so much, but she's scared of everything, and so she was worried all the time. But my dad was always supportive and trusting that I would make it, and always, even though I never, thank God, I never had to ask them for money, because I managed to do everything with my savings and my work. But I knew, and in my mindset, in the way, how can I say, knowing that you can rely on somebody else financially if your things are not, your project is not going well, it's a total relief. And of course, it makes you work with more relaxed, rather than working with the fear that if something happens, you don't know where to go, or you're gonna sleep under a bridge. It's a completely different mind state. So I have to thank my parents for this, although I always, so far, because you never know, but I always managed to do my own stuff. And when I was short of money, I was doing house sitting, so that I didn't have to pay for the rent. I was looking after a house and pets, and it was an exchange program. But in this video, I think I got excited about telling all this stuff, but I want to tell you step by step how I did it. So I left my company. I've always worked in the travel industry, wearing different hats, but making different experience. I've always loved to do to have different experiences. I was excited about changing. A change for me it's a beautiful thing. I love it, because it allows me to know myself more, to learn new skills, to know new people, and to understand different things. So for me, change is always good, even when it doesn't look good, like now that things have changed a lot in my business. But for me, I'm scared, I have to say, and because I don't know where this is going. But I'm also excited because it forced me to learn new skill, to do these videos, because before I was only focusing on writing and photography, of course, always photography. And now that my blogs have made a different turn, I'm focusing on video making, and I'm loving it. I'm also loving being on the camera, which is something that I never thought it would be possible. So even with my grammar mistakes, because I'm talking like I don't have a script. It's too much work to do a script, and I wouldn't be as spontaneous. So I'm gonna make mistakes. Sometimes a word won't come out, but I don't care. I know you understand me. And if you don't, please write a message in the comments below. I'll be happy to clarify if there is a concept that is not easy to understand. But anyway, so I was working for a great company. I had a great boss, hey Anna, and I loved it. But I knew it wasn't for me anymore. I needed, well, the things of wanting to explore the world, I've always wanted to do that, but I never thought it was the right time. And then that was the right time. I felt it inside and I had to go. So I had to save money, get some savings so that I could be like, travel for at least a year, which became 7. So I resigned, I gave 3 months notice, and then, or 2, I don't remember, but whatever they asked me, I gave them because I wasn't in a rush. And then I was free. I was also freaking out because I thought, I kept saying, did I do the right thing? But even though I was scared, deep inside my heart, I knew that I was doing the right thing. So I sold, I gave out my fancy clothes. I sold some of them. I gave away some books, and basically I reduced my belongings into 2 suitcases. I drove around the Yucatan Peninsula before selling my car so that I could have material for my blog. And I already had my blog set up, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to become an entrepreneur or I wanted to work for somebody else. So I just, at the beginning, I was just collecting stuff and writing for my blog just for the sake of writing, because I wanted to write about the things that I was seeing. And then I went back to Italy because my sister got married, so it was perfect so that I didn't have to, I wasn't in a rush. I went to the wedding, I hung out with my family. I had very bad discussions with my parents because even though I was already 45, they always treated me like I was their little girl, and they didn't understand my choice. And so we had a very deep thought, but at the end they understood, and my dad understood, my mom not so much. And but, sorry mom, but that's true. And then I went, I did a tour around Italy to meet my friends and spend some time with them. And then I went back to Mexico and I set off for my adventure. I traveled around Mexico for a while, and in the meantime, a friend of mine was kind enough to give me some freelance jobs, and also I found some freelance jobs in Upwork, and I realized that I was writing, they were writing gigs, and I realized that people loved my writing. So I thought, at one point I said, well, if I'm writing these posts and they love them, I should write for myself. And so I started to be more consistent on my blog and work harder on it, but I couldn't find any success. But I didn't care because I loved it, and I wasn't sure yet if that was the things I wanted to do, or I still prefer to working for somebody else. I guess it's because I've never pictured myself as an entrepreneur, and I never thought it was possible. So it wasn't in my reality, and that's why I kept postponing it. If I had this switch before, I would have been successful before, but maybe I wouldn't have the same experience that I had, and I don't want to regret anything because I had an amazing journey, and I loved it. Journey meaning physical journey, and but also personal journey. So I just kept going. I went to Mexico. I traveled to places in Mexico that I hadn't seen before, and then I fell in love with Mexico even more. And then I went to Guatemala, I went to Ecuador, and the Galapagos, thanks to a friend at the time, and who joined me for a small portion of the trip. But then I was grateful that she left, because I just can't travel with other people. I need to travel on my own, because I have my rhythm, I need my space, I love to be on my own. So this is another thing about being a digital nomad and travel by yourself. There is a lot of lonely time, unless you travel with somebody, or unless you are somebody who loves to stay in hostels and meet other people. There are many ways to do that, but I'm very introverted, and I love to be on my own. So I love to continue my journey, and so I traveled around Ecuador for a very long time, and well, the 3 months that I was allowed, and then I went to let alone meeting so many amazing people. And I love to meet people along the journey, but and then say goodbye. And then I went to Peru. And Peru, it was already 1 year, and I gave myself 1 year time. And when that year had gone, I said, no, I need to keep going, because that is the life that I want to live. And so I moved on. I went to Peru, and in Peru I felt sick. I was super sick, and I went to the hospital with headaches, and I had like an intestines bug, and I thought. But I went to the hospital, and they did all the exams, and I didn't do any, and I didn't have anything. So I spoke with a friend that is also a therapist, a psychologist, and he told me that he believed I had a travel burnout. So he ordered me that I should stay in wherever I was for a few months before continuing my journey, and so I did. I don't remember the name of the town, because it was a horrible town in Peru, but then I stayed there, and then after a couple of months I continued my journey to Huaraz, and this is without having, like, I was living on my savings. I had some jobs here and there, but not so much, and my blogs were not giving me any income. So. And then once I was in Peru, I felt homesick, and so I decided to go. For me, homesick means Mexico, so I decided I had to go back to Mexico. And I went to stay with a friend of mine, and I did some, I spoke with people and therapists, and I did some, I went into some therapy groups and consultants, let's say, call them consultants. And I was advised that I was like that because my savings were going away and were ending, and I need to look after myself, my financial. And so I decided to put myself into the job market, at least for a while. And like 3 days after, it was fascinating, I found a job, an online job for a company in the customer service. And it was a travel company. And then I decided that it was the right thing to do for me at the time. And so I decided that I would just go for it. And this job, I didn't really like it, but it was okay. And it lasted about 9 months, because then the pandemic happened. And I was one of the last to be hired, and of course one of the first to be let go. And I remember I was in Baja California back then, and I just arrived in Mexico after some time in Italy, and I was coming back from a trip. I was on vacation, and I was told that they had to let me go because they didn't have enough clients anymore. We were in the middle of the pandemic. So what did I do? I cried for a couple of hours because I was desperate. So what am I gonna do now? All the tourism industry is now at a stop, and who's gonna hire me? And I was but then I said, okay, I have a blog, and people, even if they don't travel, but they still love talking about traveling. So I'm just working on my blog 24/7, and I'm gonna make it work. And so I did, and in about in the meantime, I was doing house sitting. As soon as they opened the airports again, I was moving around. I found house sitting gigs. I went to Guatemala as well. I went back to Guatemala, and I was fortunate enough to find two beautiful souls, Yvonne and Gonna. Hi there. And who gave me a welcome in their homes, and I was switching between the two homes, looking after their furry babies when they were gone. And I took some intervals, some breaks in between, because I had to go out of the country two times because of the visa. And it was fantastic. I had a fantastic time while I was building my blog. And in about, I think 9 months to 1 year, my blog started to become my business. I started a second blog, and they would just explode, and I started to make good money, and living out of my blogs. In the meantime, I was learning a lot about blogging, about affiliate marketing, and about social media, even though I wasn't using social media that much, because it was all about SEO. So I was connecting with like-minded people, other bloggers. Some of them have become friends, and we were just exchanging ideas, learning. I never stopped studying and buying courses, investing on myself and on my growth, because I knew that that was the kind of life that I wanted to live, and I wasn't gonna give up, because it's like I didn't have a plan B, because I didn't want a plan B, because that was the life that I wanted to live, and it's still now, with all its ups and downs. Of course, I have days of when I'm frustrated, especially when people say enjoy your vacation. I'm never on vacation, because I'm always working, and that's okay. I started to live with it and become and now I laugh. I don't get upset anymore, because I don't care, because it's like being on vacation, because when they say love what you do and you will never have to work a day, that's me. I mean, I'm always working, but it's like I'm having fun for me, so I love to do. Well, not all the things I have to do are fun. Some of them are boring, and some of them I don't like them. But in generally speaking, I love what I do. I love to share my expertise about a country, about a place. I share tips, and when people write to me and say, thank you so much for your article, it was very useful. And for me, it's just, it's more than $1 million check. Well, not more, but it's equal to $1 million check. I love that. For me, it's what makes my life worth living. I keep traveling on my own because I love it. And sometimes I like to meet my friends along the way, and when they come and see me, or my family. We had just had a trip to Cyprus to see my aunt who lives there. And I love it. And then I was working there, even though I promised myself I wouldn't, but I can't help. It's just the way I am. And this is how I become a digital nomad. Digital nomad is not a job in itself, it's a lifestyle. But it's not the only way to travel. There are many different ways to travel. It's not I understand that being a digital nomad is not for everyone, and I was open to accept that it may have not been for me. It's okay, I tried, but I realized that it is for me, even if sometimes I believe I should do maybe stay longer in a place, but because I want to gather information about a place and learn and take pictures, so sometimes I prefer to stay in a place shorter, take all the information I have and then move on. But I think I need to start stay longer in a place because it's less stressful, and I can alternate between going out and exploring and do tours and stay at home and write about the tours instead of collecting everything and then stay in a home for a month and then work not going out for a month is too stressful. I need to be able to balance. Always a balanced life was best, but we also need to know ourselves and know and understand what is right for us. So what I want to say with this is that besides talking to you about my experience, I have 3 tips for you to decide if the digital nomad life is for you. So first of all, what I do is always know what to expect and be open to the unexpected. So, and that's tip number 1, because you need to gather information or follow other digital nomads like myself, but there are many others who speak about their experience and understand what it's like, even though what my experience is not the only way to live the digital nomad life. There can be many other ways, because I know about a girl. She stayed like 6 months in a place or 1 year and then she traveled around. I don't do that, but maybe it's smarter to do it that way. So you need to see what is right for you. That's one thing. The other thing is that I can't say you should, but it's probably a good idea. First of all, to be out of debt, because I know that in the US, if you're coming from the US, it's very typical to use credit cards and have debts because maybe you had to pay for your university loan or something like that. First of all, be out of debt, because otherwise you travel, you have to think about how to survive and make your living and paying your debt. So before going out, be clean, and then have some savings so that even if you're working, but you have emergency savings. The third one is. This is the way I make my main choices, is to picture yourself in that situation. Meaning, think about, sit down or lay down and think about what would you do a day in your nomadic life. What would you do? What would you do in this situation? What would you feel if this happens? And so forth. Maybe think about a trip you had. Think what happened if this trip would be without ending. How did you feel at the end of the trip? Were you happy to go back home? Or would you have been happier to stay and never go back? Those things are very important to understand if the nomadic life is good for you. And even if then when you do it, you realize you made a mistake, it doesn't matter, you can always go back. Maybe you can ask if you're working for a company, you can ask them a sabbatic year or a sabbatic 6 months or a long I remember I asked, I wanted to do volunteer work, and I managed to ask for, I think it was, I think it was 1 month and a half vacation or free time, unpaid vacation, something like that. Unpaid holidays is called, unpaid vacation. So the company will keep your position so open for you when you go back, but you have this time, maybe they don't pay you, but it will allow you to stay out for a longer time so that you can test yourself and see if it's the life for you. You know, maybe you realize that it's not for you and you decide to go back. It's I think life, it's a matter of trial and error, and if we never try, we will never know. It's a way to know ourselves better, you know. Or maybe if you think, maybe when you are 19, without maybe, you have different priorities and different needs and different desires than when you are 45 or when you are 30. So it's good to test yourself and understand what's best for you. So I hope this video was helpful to learn about my nomadic life and how I got here. And if you have any questions, I want to make a video about the pros and cons of the nomadic life. So if you have any question, please write them in the comment here below. And also I kindly ask you to subscribe and click on the little bell so that you will get notified every time I publish a new post. It's not always about myself or the nomadic life. It's more about trips and places to visit and things to do. It's a bit of everything, so you can choose what kind of video you wanna see. All right, enough for me. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye from Isabella from Solo Nomad Journeys. Bye.